Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Newark SKC Presents. I'm Andy Patton.
And I'm Chris Walsh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do something different tonight. I am sat here in the host chair, and I'm going to interview Sensei Chris Walsh. And I'm really excited, super excited about this. So, welcome, Sensei. I don't know why I'm saying welcome, Sensei Chris, but...
Being this side of the table is also a bit different for me, yeah.
So, thank you for coming on as well.
No problem.
Okay, so I guess the whole point of the karate journey is we should start right from the beginning. So, how did it all start?
Well, let's go back to when I would have been about 6 years old, I think.
Wow.
Not an original Newark SKC member, unfortunately. Sensei Steve Walsh, who had on my father, he was, as we heard in that episode, that he was an original Newark SKC member. But I'm an original Grantham SKC member. So, but we always had good ties, good links with Newark. So yeah, I started at 6 years old under the tutelage of my father and the likes of Sensei Phil Rakes that we had on, Sensei Ian Hemstock, Mark Amos, were all instructors at Grantham, yeah, and I was trained under those.
And what was that like?
Well, I mean, as starting at 6 years old, I think when I look back, I definitely would say my father dragged me there at times, kicking and screaming. I wouldn't have said it was certainly not something that I thought at the time that I really, really wanted to do, but I enjoyed it. I'd have probably said I probably enjoyed the routine of it.
Okay.
Of doing the Kion, doing the Kata, doing the Kumite. I think, but definitely looking back, I would say the friendships at 6 years, at 6 years old, 7 years old, can just about remember back then. But it was the friendships I think I enjoyed more than anything, actually.
Okay.
that you'd go there. Certainly back then, I would have said it was hard. It was. We had a lot of members at Grantham. I remember, on a Sunday afternoon was the main time I would go.
Okay.
And the old leisure centre that was in Grantham's, if anyone knows Grantham, it's where Asda supermarket is now.
All right.
And when it was, it must have been well insulated, because in the summer that place was like a Turkish bathhouse. It was so hot in there, and it was old school training.
Yeah.
Not like now. You didn't get a drinks break. You just had to do 2 hours of training. You just sort of had to I need the toilet, and try and sneak off to grab a drink of water at
Sensei
times.
not looking.
Oh God, no! You wouldn't have snuck off. It was definitely, you'd be asking for permission to shoot off to try and grab a drink, or nip to the loo to just sneak a drink of water. But yeah, it was. I just remember the camaraderie and the friendship. That would be the main thing, and it probably wasn't until. Oh, not until later on, 17, 18 onwards, that I would have said that's when probably more when I really enjoyed the karate.
So let's go back even further, your first day. So I'm picturing in my head when we're talking about your first day, like a sort of mini Sensei Chris Walsh, because obviously you are quite tall. So tell us about the first day, the atmosphere. What was that like?
Well, I've actually got, I'm sure I posted it on social media a bit back. I've got a picture of me in my gi with my white belt, I think in the back garden of our old family home. I'll be honest, trying to think right back then. I mean, I can just think I was probably more just nervous more than anything. Like most people that start.
Yeah.
Just very nervous. But no, I mean, again, the instructors and the people we had in there, and like most people know who've done karate, or if you're even thinking about doing karate, it again was like a family atmosphere. We say that about Newark now.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a family atmosphere, and that's what it was like. So the nervousness of stepping through into the dojo for the first time was soon washed away and gone, because there was other young children the same age as you that you're running around like loonies.
As they do now.
Running around having fun before session starts. But it was. I would have just said, very nervous. But then by the end of that session, that would have gone, and you was, very relaxed.
So what made you go back? Was that Sensei Steve's influence, or was it like, I love it, I've got to go back?
I think I certainly enjoyed going, but then there was obviously, I think, a lot of that I look back, I probably didn't as 6 years old. I wasn't playing like a lot of sport, played football, like I remember, again, you'd be going on a few years, but I do remember playing football with my friends. We used to play a bit of cricket, but I wasn't on any teams or anything like that. Okay. And I think that's probably like why my father took me down there, and probably a little bit I was quite a shy kid growing up. Like quiet, but not quiet, but just I don't know, maybe a little bit timid, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's probably, I can see that might be one of the reasons why he took me training. But then it was a bit of a family thing as well, because for a time my mother was doing karate as well. So all three, when my father and mother were still together, all three of us were training. Training. So it was like a family thing, really.
Yeah. Excellent. So you mentioned, you touched on the camaraderie, the friendship of Grantham SKC. Was there anybody in particular who you've become friends with over the time in Grantham? Or?
Oh, I mean, there's people there. I mean, obviously, Sensei Phil Rakes was he was almost like a member of our family. He's has been a great mentor as well, like in karate terms. Like I say, Ian Hemstock, very good instructor. Again, all these people, I look back and karate, like at the time, at competition, I used to go to like the nationals, the central regions with the club. Even when we'd be linking up with Newark, getting a coach together or something like that. And it was, I think maybe because of my age, and I might have been because I've probably a little bit timid. Like my father never put me into competition at a young age.
Okay.
And you could look back and think, I wish he had done that.
Yeah.
But in one sense, it doesn't bother me either way, because I got into competition a little bit later on in life, and obviously, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I can certainly look back thinking, like when I did start to compete a little bit more serious, like later on in my late teens, the amount of experience I can draw from a memory from going to competition and watching them compete.
Yeah.
Especially in that sort of era there was still, some really good competitors out there. So you're taking all that in, like people might say to me, I mean, I used to like to use like sweeping the leg. And, I still do. And I would say that we never had a class of where anyone taught me, or certainly I don't remember being taught how to do it. Okay. I just remember drawing from the experience of seeing my father do it, Sensei Phil doing it. All these other people using sweeps, even, other people from different clubs. Yeah. And I just thought, I'll have a go at doing that.
Yeah, sort of connected with it.
Just drawing from that experience of being there and watching people compete, really.
And did that give you itchy feet? Were you like, I really want to be on the mat?
No. Like when I was younger, I was like, no, I'm quite happy watching and supporting everybody. Yeah, no, it was funny. I just wasn't. I wouldn't say interested. It just wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't for me. I remember there was a couple of people in the club that was maybe, I think at Grantham, that was a few years older than me, I think, only by a couple of years. And I just remember, like, you'd always getting not beat. I'll say beaten up. It's not beaten up. Not beaten up, but like they're just getting the better of you all the time. And I just felt like, I'm just not. I just felt it's hard to know what I was thinking back then, but I would definitely look back and think, I don't think I'm good enough.
It's that sort of doubt, isn't it?
And so I just thought, it's not for me. Yeah. Like I say, until later on in life. But yeah, no, I mean, it was the Grantham, even with the younger, like as I'm trying to think like what the age I can remember back to, but it certainly from the time I'd got through a few grades, and maybe even got up to brown belt, the first Q. Even the younger generation, very competitive. You know, like everyone was always wanting the best. You know, trying to get the best out of each other. That's what I do remember. Certainly, like getting up to when I was like brown belt. Once you got up to that high end, everyone was like pushing you, really trying hard. And even like going through, I wouldn't have said I certainly didn't find either the kata or the kumite. I didn't feel like I specialized in either back then. I was just happy if I could do it. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no man.
We like obviously like especially as a young, starting quite really young at 6. It was just always just dreading the grading and
I can imagine.
Because at Grantham we used to have regular, Sensei Bob Rhodes who scared the life out of everybody.
I think he still does. I think he's quite intimidating.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, lovely bloke,
absolutely,
but yeah, just used to scare everybody to death. But I think it got the best out of you.
Yeah, definitely. So was he the instructor who took you through every one of your Q gradings?
Not everyone. I didn't bring my license this evening, but I mean, if you looked in my license, Sensei Bob's probably like would have been the majority. And then Sensei Noida and Sensei Ota took me for probably like a few others. Not many. I would say predominantly Sensei Bob, but then we had a couple because we had Sensei Noida to the club a couple of times.
Wow.
Which was always again, I can remember that, and I think it's been mentioned on the podcast previous.
Everybody talks about Sensei Noida, and there's a reason for that, because I'm struggling to find the words, but he was just brilliant. He was just a presence. They call him a tiger, don't they? Yeah. So now, since we're on about Sensei Noida, how good was that training with Sensei Noida?
Oh, fantastic! I mean, I've got a couple of nice pictures from when I think we had that many people wanting to come and train when we put a grading on with Sensei Noida, that it was at the Grantham Army Barracks, and I'm sure I remember Sensei Steve and Sensei Phil mentioning that. And I can remember I was pretty young when he came, but I've got a couple of nice pictures that was taken during training, I think, or either a few where he was teaching us, and a few of us was lucky enough to have some pictures with him while he's and I've got those somewhere, and it's just really nice. I think there was I definitely would have posted those to social media some time ago, but there's there's a social media group, it's like a memorial group or respectful group towards Sensei Noida, and someone must have seen this picture somewhere and obviously like copied and pasted it, and they'd put it on there and says, I wonder what if any of these children are still doing karate now. And then quite a few people had like tagged me in it and said, oh yeah, well Chris is at Newark SKC now, and it was nice, because karate is, I do believe karate is for life. It's I just think it's an incredible thing to start, and the friendships you make, the discipline you get, it's
that
fantastic.
Sense of community. I always find no matter where you are, no matter which club you're with, everybody's in it together. Yeah,
and that's the beauty of it. I mean, you could be quite a shy person, and think, oh God, I've got nothing to talk about with anyone. But if you go training at a different, it could be at any different club, could be in a totally different country.
Yeah.
You go looking for a karate club, you're always going to have that in common. So you'll always have something to talk about with them when you're there.
Yeah. So gradings wise, Sensei Bob Rhodes, I mean, he always made me nervous when I was grading. So what was that like for you? Grading
I just remember, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I remember it was just, I'd say it again was very, very firm and always very fair. Like, at the end of the day, I think he might have tempered me like one time, but it was, he gave you good feedback.
Yeah.
And it was if it was warranted. If he gave you, it was warranted.
Okay.
And but it was nice because he's an antiques dealer.
Oh, okay.
So he'd used to come to the I don't know if the Newark Antiques Fair if he still comes to that or not. But he used to come to Newark and also like stay at my father's house sometimes when the Antiques Fair was on.
Right.
And yeah, it was always funny, like seeing that other side of him because he was like really good. But then obviously when you're in the dojo, they're very serious,
Absolutely, yeah.
He was speaking a while back now, and he was telling me, "Oh, you should go to grade again." I was like, I don't know if I want to, and he's like, well, "Why not?" And I was like,
I can picture it now. That serious face.
And I was like,
with all due respect,
because I was like, because you scared me half to death with grading. So I was like,
you still do.
Yeah. But again, lovely man, still trained, still doing it, and yeah, inspiration.
Absolutely. And Sensei Bob, if you are listening, we would love to have you. So Sensei Inoida, you graded under Sensei Inoida. Now he had, from what I've been told, I only got to train under him once, sadly, but he had that presence about him. You knew when he walked in, didn't you?
Oh, I mean, again, as a young child. I mean, I remember, I think we had him at the like I said, we've said in the past, we had him at the army barracks once. Then we had him actually at the dojo itself, at the leisure centre, the old leisure centre at Grantham. And yeah, you could just tell like when he walked in the room, it was just a presence. It's so hard to describe
unless you're there.
Unless you were there. But even as a young child back then, it was just like, there's something special about this chap.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which there was, and just the way he could command the room, command everybody's attention. It's just again, even going to going with my father to the nationals and seeing some of his, and seeing his demonstrations there. They're always fantastic.
Absolutely. So we've touched on it slightly, and we always touch on it with everybody. Old school. So you've talked about it in the club. Grantham was quite well known for its old school karate. Now, just to explain what that means is they would do certain things which we don't do anymore. So, and a bit more, would you say, harder kumite wise, or maybe?
I mean, it was like back in the day. I mean, it was the class was always like you did some Kion, you did some kumite, you did some kata. It was always like, it wasn't just kumite. It was well mixed, but it was just, if we did kumite, if there was 50 people there, or if there was 10 people there, 20 people, 30, 40, 50, 60 people there, which there easily was sometimes, if we're doing lineups, it was the whole. Everybody, it wasn't just involved. The higher grades. It was everybody got involved. Down to the beginners. Like everybody got involved, and it was back foot against the wall. Back foot against the wall. You had to make your own. You had to make your own space, and I wouldn't say no one. It was no one. Again, some people might think, it's really harsh or anything like that, but it wasn't. It pushed you to be better. Sometimes you'd be there to just, you might not score on anybody out of all these people. Yeah. And you just think, oh God, why am I doing this? But then other times you would do all right. You'd hold your own. Yeah.
Sort of.
And I think it got. I don't know. It got that confidence out of you as well.
Absolutely. Sort of standing your ground as well.
Yeah. And again, learning not to be intimidated as well, not being pushed being pushed around really, like in the kumite sense of it really.
Okay, absolutely. So going back to the competition, so you were a bit apprehensive, let's say, about doing competitions. What made you then go for it? Was it because did you get to a brown belt? Did you have to start thinking about it, or was it just like something clicked?
Oh, well, I mean, I think I passed my first Q, and I think it was past my first Q with Sensei Inoida actually at Grantham. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
And that's right. I think I might have even had the temporary off Sensei Bob, and then I think Sensei Inoida passed me for my full pass for my first queue, and I must have been around about 12 years old, I think.
Okay.
And then, well, one thing led to another. Sort of parents separated. Moved to Scotland with my mother. So it's like, obviously I'm not training with Grantham at back then.
Yeah.
I was training a bit, just training like on and off really at that point. I was training when I lived in Scotland. I did train a couple of times with the JKA club.
Okay.
Then because at that time Grantham was with the KUGB.
Yep. Okay.
I was trained with the JKA club at the time, like in Stirling.
All right.
But then I'd quite, I would say, like, when I used to come back down to Newark to visit my father, like did train. I'd go training with them still.
Yeah.
Or if I was down in in one of the holidays or whatever, and I was down and there was a competition going on, I would go with them.
Yeah.
And always support them. Again, I still wasn't like really competing by this point.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just in and out training, but nothing like mega regular.
Okay.
And then, it wasn't. You probably, it was quite a break before I was like with say from solid training where you're training really regular.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah.
Trying to think like when it would have been. I mean, I was living in Scotland for like 10 years.
Oh wow.
And then I moved back to Newark. So it would have been sort of like in my early 20s when I moved back.
Oh,
but when I did come back, that's right. So when I would come back during the holidays, I remember I would sometimes I'd be training with Sensei Phil and one of the brown belts that we've mentioned, Nigel Ross. So we'd just get together and train like in a squash court, in a gym somewhere.
Yeah. Informal.
Informal, but like hard. It'd be hard training.
Yeah.
There'd be quite plenty of kumite for sure. And then we would go to the central region. So, because again, Newark at that point was still within the KUGB.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd fight for Newark. Sensei Wayne would allow us to fight for Newark at times. So I fought in the central regions a few times then, and that's when I was probably like 17. I would have said when I was really first like started to compete. So like it's a shame really. Probably would have learned a lot more doing it when I was younger. But again, I look back and think I'm not sad that I didn't.
No.
At that time, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then really started to think, I quite like that. Quite like
bitten by the competition bug, let's say.
I liked it. Wasn't really having like much success to be honest, but I still enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah.
And then moved back to Newark properly, right? Sort of like round about the age of 20.
Okay.
And was doing little bits, trained with Sensei Phil a bit. Again, nothing like wasn't joining a club properly.
Sort of again on
it
and
was
off.
just all on and off. Still a first queue at this point, so got to be like one of the.
We've talked about the record.
Yeah, the record. Yeah, it was definitely a first queue for quite some time.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I would have been early 20s. I would have said sort of early 20s when I thought, no, it'd always been in the back of my mind. I got the first queue and thought, come on, I've got to get, I've got to get my show done.
Yeah.
And I just decided to think, right, that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Yeah, I think
it bothers you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it bothers me. But then I think I had a few things. There was a few things going off in my life, and I was like getting a little bit frustrated with things, and I needed to channel like some frustrations and things like that. And I thought, you know what? I just need to knuckle down and get back to karate. So I went back, saw Sensei, and says, look, can I come back? Can I join Newark?
Yeah.
No, no problem. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Got in the door, and then that was it. It was like training 3-4 times a week. I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to really knuckle down and go. go for my showdown. So
Yeah.
probably started in the January 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, it was either started going back late 2009, and then really like 3-4 times a week doing circuit training, spinning classes, karate training.
Everything.
Well, that was on top. That was on top of like training 3 or 4 times a week in the dojo as well.
Yeah.
Just set my mind to the goal of like, right at the end of the year, because we had a look on I think Sensei Wayne had a look at the calendar. Says there's a grade in December 2010. This is like
that's it.
That's
Let's
put it. But yeah, that's it. And I just put my mind to it and just really knuckled down. Tried to get to like every course that was going and just get as much,
noticed.
Just not just getting noticed, but just getting as much, absorbing as much as I could, and trying to just prove to everyone around me that I'm dedicated, really going for it, and myself.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 2010, I think it was at Hatfield.
Yeah.
Went for my showdown, and I was say lucky enough. I certainly didn't go in there like 100% confident, but I just felt like I've put in the work. I felt ready.
Yep.
I felt ready, and I was very fortunate that Sensei Ota had passed me that day.
And there's nothing better than that feeling, especially after the process of what you go through to get there, which is what you like you've just quite rightly said. Lots of training, 3-4 times a week, and you're doing everything outside the dojo as well. You can't leave any stone unturned. I think if you're going to put yourself forward to grade, you've got to you're all in on it. Any grade, really. I mean, even even at Q grades, if you've got people training like maybe once a week, then you've got to be realistic and say, look, you're not going to be grading like every time. Go for your showdown and above. Yeah, you've got to be dedicated. You've got to be dedicated. You've got to put in the work. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hatfield. Now, am I right in saying not only did you get your showdown, but that was the day? And I'm going off by what my dad, Sensei Will, told me was the day you got selected. Well, Sensei Ota had his eye on you, and he wanted you in the squad.
I don't know about it for Sensei Ota. I just on that. Yeah, I was very fortunate. I think going into the showdown grading, I thought, first of all, was just like I want to pass my showdown. That was it. And then I thought, well, maybe next year I'd try and work on my kumite a bit more and trying to get on the England squad.
Okay.
But that was like at the back of my mind. It wasn't something I was like actively thinking. It was just like thinking, right, trying to set it just in case I did pass my showdown, setting another goal.
Yeah.
Going into next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into the following year, sorry.
Yeah.
And I was just very fortunate. That was right. There was one of the visiting instructors at that course was Sensei Richard Heselton.
Right.
If anyone doesn't know Sensei Richard, you should look him up. Look on YouTube. Phenomenal karateka. What he's achieved. Mm-hmm. He was there. I'd never met him before. He's a Westerner that's gone over to Japan and achieved some very good things. Yeah. And he just seeing someone that was also as tall as me but could move like lightning. It was like it blew my mind. I think that just made me think that was what made me think, what as well this maybe go to squad again if it could happen.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate. I had a very good kumite bout for my showdown, and one of the instructors or one of the grading examiners at the time, Sensei Roy Tomlin, just came up to me and said, what you're doing next, or what you doing? I was like, what you doing next Saturday, or what you doing on Saturday?
Okay,
it must have been next Saturday, and I just said, I've no idea, Sensei. And he just says, well, you best get yourself to squad or squad selection. I was like, I was just stood next to Sensei. I was like, us? You know, what can you say? Like, us,
Wow,
Sensei. Yeah, okay,
it,
yeah, I'll be there. And, you know, and that was, you know, it was fantastic, you know, but again, I think you might have said that to me before I'd even been up and done my kata for my showdown. And I was like, it's sort of like, I was like, oh, that sounds really good. Right. I've got to be, back of the mind now. I've got to like concentrate on doing my kata. And I think it was the following Saturday.
You
went down to Westminster and tried out for the squad. And I was fortunate to get on the squad.
Yep.
But then obviously then you've got the hard work of trying to secure, trying to keep a place on there, and also look at trying to get selected to represent your country. Yeah.
So first day, the selection process, Sensei Roy Tomlin's like basically told you need to be Westminster on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You get there, you walk through the door. What's it like?
Well, so he told me to be there, but the squad coach at the time was Sensei Adele Ishmael, and
Brilliant instructor.
Again, thoroughly always enjoyed his classes. Again, slightly intimidated by him at that, and
absolutely,
obviously you walk into squad and you think, you've been to the national, you've been and competed at the nationals. Yep. You've been to a lot of the courses. You've seen if they're doing like international friendship. So you've seen a lot of these people that are on the squad, or obviously then at this point trying to get their place, keep their place, I guess. And also Sensei Richard Heselton was there because he was looking to compete, I think, at the World Championships, and he was also going for a place on there. And you're like thinking, wow, there you get, and that was just nerve-wracking. There was
anyone you knew
there was Sensei Tawanda originally, like I think had come from Zimbabwe as well. Fantastic character as well, lovely bloke. I think he's living in Sweden now, but lovely bloke. He was there. Sensei Wayne was also there, like
he was on the squad at the time, wasn't he? Am I right?
Not on the time, but I think he was just trying to see if he could get onto the back at doing kata on the squad. I think at the time,
right? Okay.
And there was lots of people. There was a chap called Trezor, another guy called Jovan.
Right. Okay.
So there was Sensei Richard there, Tawanda. Chap called Ricardo. There's a bunch of, again, say more people. And again, if I've forgotten anyone's name, I do apologise. But it was hard. All you could do is just go out there and try your best.
What you've got,
and I'd say I was very still trying. You're always trying to perfect your thing, but I still wasn't happy with how my kumite was. So I just thought, I'm just going to come and I'll give it a go. And if it doesn't pan out, then it doesn't pan out. But I was lucky I did get selected, and it's in the, I've always been a big believer is, again, beware the better people. Like I say, the better people. Get with the people who've got all this experience that you can try and learn from. Put yourself under that pressure, because that's where you're going to learn. That's where you're going to learn to get better.
Yeah, take the knowledge from them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes at that point, I think, because I was a member, obviously then a member of Newark, there was no, I just always felt there was some good people there, but there's no one I ever felt that was really, really pushing me.
Oh, okay.
That was really, really pushing. It's like that you feel like you're really under threat of, if you're doing kumite, you're really under threat of, they're going to, I might get hurt here, or And, when I did get to SWAD, I felt like that all the time. But then that's what I wanted. I wanted that pressure
to push you to feel better.
To push you to make you get better.
Yeah. So, selection day. You're doing kumite. Was it just kumite?
I think we did. No, we did everything. We had a training session beforehand. So we did a training session, normal training session, and then with some kata and kumite, got people just doing some sparring, doing some sparring.
And
like I say, it was very nerve wracking. Again, when it's your first time, like going for it. That was, and I think maybe a few days later, a week later, I got an email to say that I'd been selected to be on the squad.
Oh, okay. Who was that from?
And then that was I think at that time of day we were with Sensei Deli. He wanted us. We were down in training in Westminster every Sunday. That was
that down at Sensei Otis Club? Or
no, it was at Sensei Gary Stewart's club where we used to
down
at Westminster.
Okay, yeah.
And we were there.
Yeah.
Every Sunday at one point. I don't know if that was. I can't remember if that was immediate, but we certainly at one point we were there every Sunday. Obviously, we tried to get to as many of the courses as we could.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was very lucky at the time as well because one of the young lads from Newark, he was on. I think it was on the cadets. He was on the cadets in the squad, and I was able to get a lift like down to Westminster with his dad.
And who was that? Is there anyone we know?
That was Jonathan Spencer.
Jonathan Spencer.
Yeah, Jonathan Spencer. Yeah. His dad Charlie, bless him, used to give me a lift down there, and he was he was so. I mean, every time I bump into him or see him, because he still works for a company we do some work for, and I see him occasionally, and I owe him a lot really because he was so reasonable, bless him, with just used to chuck him a few quid like for petrol money, and he was
like,
it was just so reasonable though, it was so reasonable. I mean, I think if I hadn't had him, Jonathan wasn't on the squad and I hadn't got a lift with them, I'd have found it a big ask at the time to get down there, because getting down to Westminster from Newark every Sunday at one point was a big financial.
It's not cheap, is it?
No.
Wow.
But Sensei Adele really gave me my my shot there, and there was but I thought I was really pushing myself hard trying to get selected for, it was the European Championships, I think it was, and it was in London that year.
Oh wow!
But I narrowly missed out.
Oh no!
Getting selected to represent my country that time. I did go down. They did ask me to go down and sort of be there and train with the squad and just take it all in,
soaking the atmosphere.
And just see what it was all about. And I really appreciated that. Obviously, I was gutted that I didn't get selected. But I had a couple. I think there was a few squad selections, not squad selections, but a few squad training sessions. Sorry, prior to getting selected for the competition. And I had a couple of nights. I came away from a couple of those sessions just thinking, I've not done well here. I felt like I just a couple of times I thought I'd just let myself down a little bit, and again I paid for it where I just didn't get selected, but that gave me the drive
to go forward,
and then we had the World Championships, so missed out for the one in the Europeans in London, but then got selected to go to Thailand.
Oh wow!
Oh God, the year was 2000. It would have been in 2011. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but it was the World Championships in Thailand, and I've really pushed myself again, even harder for that, thinking I'd missed out on Europe, and it gave me that drive to really go for it. And I was again lucky enough to be selected. I was just selected to be in the team because it was a 5-man team.
Yep. Okay.
But even though I was selected for I'd been selected to be hopefully one of the 5.
Okay.
But there was obviously more. You didn't know till like leading up to if it was actually gonna be.
All right. Okay.
Select. To be actually on the mat.
Okay.
And I was. I was lucky enough to fight for JK England, at the World Championships in the team event, which, for my first time out, I was thoroughly grateful for.
Yeah. And what was the atmosphere like there?
Oh, like you're just there, soaking it all up, like just seeing again being at the European Championships and watching that. you've seen all the European countries, but then you've seen bit like Brazil
It's
and
sort of bigger
actually seeing the
stage, would you
Japanese.
say?
Oh yeah, it's huge. It was over several days. Like I think like the first day was all the juniors competing,
Oh, okay.
and then the second day was like all the seniors.
Yeah.
And just seeing all the other obviously other countries, America, Canada,
Wow.
Japan, Brazil, a load of the other countries, just those ones that were stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing the Japan team, and yeah, it was just incredible. Just seeing the level that all these other countries were at.
And which countries did you go against?
Well, in the team, we were, like I say, that was just all I was ended up being selected for. But I was, we were against Canada.
Oh wow!
So that was the first out. We were against Canada, and I was put third out of the 5.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first person out was a good friend of mine, Sensei Nick Richards. Great guy, phenomenal at Kumite, really good lad. He went out. Went out first. It was unfortunate. He lost, but it was close.
Yeah.
And then Sensei Richard Heselton went out second. So I thought, it was one of those where myself, I'm looking at the fight, thinking, okay, Nick's lost. Sensei Richards he's got this.
Yeah.
But he was against Don Sharp. He's I think he's the chief instructor of JK Canada, and he's a former world champion.
Wow.
So you knew it was going to be a bit tasty. And Sensei Richard got disqualified because he knocked Sensei Sharp out of the front leg Mwashigeri.
Wow.
And it was, and then so then it's all on my shoulders. Then there's no pressure. Everyone's going, Chris, you need to win it. You need to win it to keep it to keep it alive with a chance of winning it. So it's like, oh, no pressure, guys. I'm the first time out. Everyone else is like a seasoned competitor. And
here's you, the new guy on the job kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
And again, I don't know. I listened to what my instructors had been telling me from the sidelines, and tried to keep my cool as much as possible.
Oh yeah, always got to keep you cool in competition.
Yes, well, I think it was. I think I got 2 warnings. I think I got.
Who hasn't from Newark?
I think I had 2 warnings, and I was really panicking then, because I just thought I think I'd got a Wazari. I'd gone a Wazari up, and then I got 2 warnings, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And but then I was lucky enough to score again, and
Did you save the day?
Unfortunately, not. My the 2 guys after me had sort of some rugged fights, and we lost. But look, the team overall, the team lost. But I remember Sensei said to me, he says, Chris, you did your bit.
Yeah.
You did what you could do.
Yeah.
And it was really nice for him to say that. And
absolutely.
Again, you can only fight your fight. You can't. That's it.
You can't do it for everyone else.
And as a first time out there, I was again. I won my fight. I was pleased I won my fight.
Absolutely.
It's a shame we couldn't go on, but I did my bit. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do any more.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you went out there.
Yeah.
Won an opportunity.
Yeah.
So was that your only world championships? Did you go?
It was my only world championships. I did the following year. I did go to I was lucky enough to be selected to go to the European Championships in Prague.
Oh wow!
Again, so that was then my first. We had the first Worlds and then my first European Championships.
Okay.
And again, training pretty hard for that. And first time Europeans, and I was, lucky enough, but I was lucky enough to go. I managed to get through to the last 16 of the individual. Was that
individual?
That was in the individuals.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I was in the individual and the team at this one.
Yeah.
At the Europeans, it's 3-man team.
Right.
Opposed to obviously the 5-man at the World.
Any reason for that? Is there any reason for the difference, or?
I don't know what I'm not sure. But yeah, the individuals, I managed to get to the last 16, which was for me I obviously I wanted to go all the way, but I mean, like for my first time at the Europeans, getting in the last 16, I look back, I was happy with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, you want to go further, but again, you're against people that were way more experienced than I am, and I think again that first time out doing it, I took it as a positive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But then, unfortunately, after that, me and my wife decided to have children.
Okay.
And I felt like I just had to. I couldn't give the squad my all then.
Yeah. No.
And I couldn't really give karate my all because we're having a baby. I still trained a bit, leading up to having our first child.
Yeah.
But then when my eldest son Lorenzo was born, I decided to just take a step back.
Yeah.
For a little while.
Okay.
It was a shame because but you would never change anything like with your kids.
Yeah.
It was just felt like the karate was going in. It was going in the right. No, it was going in the sort of going in the training and everything was going in the right direction.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, I was getting late. I was the time of Lorenzo's early 30s. Yeah. It was early.
Wow.
Early 30s.
Okay.
So, I was just having a child, step back. I mean, karate was going in one direction. You can always think like, oh, what if? But I would never take that away from having my children.
Absolutely.
And it was, it was just right. No, I just need to. I've been so all in on the karate, on the squad, and traveling here, there, everywhere. I just felt like, no, I'm having a child. I'm going to take the time, and I'm going to focus on that. And I thought, when the time's right, we'll come back. I'll get back training more serious again.
Okay.
And then so I just threw myself into weightlifting for a bit while in the interim.
I remember that. Yeah, you were Goodness
doing
knows
a bit
what.
of powerlifting, But it was that just started out at home while we ended up going on having a second child. So it was like while the kids were really young, I just thought, just did that at home, kept myself fit, tried to keep strong.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the powerlifting. I just felt like probably got a little bit. It certainly slowed me down a bit when I got back to doing karate. They were probably put a little bit too much muscle on and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was mainly doing like the conventional three, so it was like squat, bench, deadlift.
Yep.
And I didn't feel like it really was probably the best. We're going back to karate. It was probably like the best thing. I still think like lifting weights and things, but just keep it a bit lighter.
Yeah. No flipping cars.
No.
Fair enough. So, you've touched on the training in the squad.
Yeah.
So, what's it actually like? Is it, you're going all in, giving it your all, coaches watching? Would you say it's different, isn't it, to your standard karate session?
Yeah, I mean, you're there and then everybody, it's just that thing again, like, I'd say like, it reminded me of like being like what the training it could be like at Grantham back in the day. It's just putting yourself under that pressure. Like, there was people. I touched on my friend Nick Richards.
Yeah,
like, he'd been trained in Japan as well. And
really?
Was great. Like great. Great crack.
Yeah,
but but not many people wanted to spar with him because he was just full on.
Yeah.
And because he was from York and we're like from obviously here, so I always just I don't know, I got on with him got on with him really well, and I just was just like, me and you are going to be mates, so it's like
the northern connection, maybe.
Probably, and I just put myself in front of him all the time, and like you just had that sense all the time.
Yeah,
he's going to take my head off if I'm not careful. But again, I thrived on that. I just thought that just made you sharp, made your reactions sharp. Because if you weren't, you was going to get caught.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there was a lot, of people that just tried to avoid him.
Wow. Am I right in saying we've had Sensei Nick Richards, haven't we? He did.
He came and did a class for. Yeah, he came and
Brilliant
did.
class.
Yeah, he came and did a class for us, and yeah, it was really good. Hope he might come back again.
Oh, definitely.
Sometime, but he's got a young, he's got a young family now, and you see how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Is he still training, or is he?
Yes, he does a bit of he does a bit of judo training.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not so much karate these days, but it's more judo related.
Okay. So you've touched on some absolutely brilliant instructors, some top instructors. So we've got to talk about what are they like. In particular, Sensei Adele, because we have got Sensei Adele for a grading very soon.
Yes.
What is he like?
Again, I think I'd say it was always very firm and fair. Again, I always appreciate it. I admire that when they're very firm and fair and honest. Yeah. And they'll tell you straight, like, need to be working on this.
Yeah.
This, and hold you to account. I remember, I felt like that was they held you to account. They held you to account at squad. Like, are you putting in the right?
So they questioned you in a way.
Yeah, I'd say so. They're like, how much are you training? And how much are you training in the week? Are you putting in the hard work? And I think that's good. Like, keep everybody accountable.
Keeps you on your toes, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. And he just knew how to. I'd say he just knew how.
Yeah.
I can't really answer for everybody else, but I always felt like he knew how to push me.
Yeah.
That and probably get the best. Probably get the best out of me as well.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say that.
Yeah. If I'm really honest, he's one of my favourite instructors. And I can't wait to have him. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see him at the grading.
Absolutely. And hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that gives you an idea of what Sensei Adele is like. He's a brilliant instructor.
Yeah, he's just, I'd say, like, very, very firm but fair, but but strong and just gets the best out. You could, like anyone knows, I mean, you can be training and then your instructor or a instructor can just kind of become, they're at the side of you, and next thing you know, you think, you might be there going, then it seems to be going all right, and then you notice Sensei looking at you, and then
that's a look at Sensei does,
and then suddenly you've got two left feet, and you're just like, why have I started karate?
I did that really well until you showed up, Sensei, until you were stood right there.
But I think you'll get instructors like that. I think throughout your life, the ones that
sort of stick out to you, really.
Either stick out or I could name like Sensei Gary as well. Sensei Adele gave me my shot at the Worlds. Sensei Gary Stewart gave me my shot at the European Champions that I went to. Yeah. Again, like all these instructors, they stick out, and you'll be thankful that they gave you the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And it's a hard thing, as you know, like with teaching, it's a hard thing. You've got, with so many different personalities and everything, with all the different kids, adults. It's trying people, isn't it? It's trying to find, again, like what makes them tick, what's going to help, what's good for one person to try and get the best out of them isn't necessarily what's going to help the other person.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the good things with Newark is that we're very fortunate to have a lot of quite a few higher grades in the club that all want to help out and assist, and everyone brings something different to the table. And again, I've found it where I might be struggling to get something across to a student or several students. And then you'll just ask one of the other instructors, do you mind just having a take them and just try and see if you can work with them? And next thing you know, like I don't like teaching my own kids.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
For people listening, I have my two boys do karate. Sensei Andy's got his daughters just started doing karate, and again for myself, I'll teach them at home. I'll teach them and show them a few bits at home. But once we get in the dojo, it's just different. I don't know how my dad managed to with
No, it is, isn't it? Because for me, it's one of them. It's like you've got to treat them as, one of the students, but that if you perhaps correct them or anything like that, potentially they're gonna say, "Dad, what on earth was that?"
Yeah, I mean, I think back actually to like when I was a kid when I started, and I could take it if my old man told me off in class, you know. And it was like, and you just get on with it. Or if it was grading and stuff, and you like that was the thing is like your dad's the instructor, and he's on the table with the grading examiner as well. I never felt the pressure though when my dad was there. The other thing was if I had to like ban my mum from being there. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's so bizarre that like she was like, "Oh, can I come and watch?" Like, absolutely not.
Oh wow!
Like just if she was there, I'd just go to pieces. But Dad could be there,
right?
And it was all right. Okay. I don't know. There's some psychosomatic stuff going on there. I don't know. It's just so bizarre because my mum had actually like packed up. Like I think by the time I was late into the later grades, my mum had like packed up training. Okay. But yeah, it was very, but I never. Some people I've spoke to some other people have started that have done karate whose parents are like instructors and things, and they've always said, "Oh, I feel the pressure."
Oh yeah.
From because your parents.
Yes.
The instructor, but I can honestly say I never felt that really. It was all I don't know. It was just I think maybe I don't know if it's because I was too young.
Yeah.
I ever didn't pay any attention.
Yeah.
But then. My dad could hold, when he was competing, he could hold his own. And I'm sure I do remember like one of the kids saying sometime, making some comment like, and about trying to thinking that you should be at some standard because your dad is. And it's like, just because one person could be really good doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be like very good.
It is. Yeah. I suppose it's sort of, you're the instructor's son, and there's that sort of, because already you've got the pressure, you are following in their footsteps anyway. They are the reason you got into it in the first place, but then it's kind of like, like you quite rightly said, some people just think you should be probably better than what you are.
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember ages ago. I think I asked Sensei Ota, like, because I know. I'm sure I remembered ages ago they'd said like his son had started karate.
Oh, really?
And he said that, like what I was saying, he says his son like just felt too much pressure.
Wow,
like because his dad is Sensei Ota, and I can't imagine because like that I can't imagine that must have it must be like a lot of pressure. And it's it's unfair to people. Like it could have just all been like there. It could all just were people putting that pressure on him? You'd like to think not.
Did you just think it?
Did you? Yeah, it could be this. Did you just think it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's certainly quite. It's definitely an interesting topic. Yeah. You touched on Sensei Gary. Now, what was he like?
Yes.
Or is he?
Yeah, Sensei Gary is great instructor. He'd trained at Marshall Street, under Sensei Inoue, and. Like just fantastic knowledge. Yeah, always good explaining like kata and bunkai. Was a great competitor himself, with kumite and everything. Yeah, it was again. You going to when you give him a shot at the Europeans, you just again when you've been selected, but it's selected. You want to do your coach, your team, your country. You want to do everybody proud.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do. Yeah, and we've got to talk about Sensei Phil Rakes.
How can we not?
Oh, well, that's it. We've had him on, and now we've got to hear it from your view. What was he like?
He's definitely one of the best. Like one of the as an instructor. Oh, definitely. Yeah. One of the best instructors that I've trained with. Again, always could get the best out of you. Yeah. You always wanted to show him what you could do and like how you'd perfected your karate. And just again as a young lad and going around with Grantham or Newark and Grantham, again, watching him fight or do kata was great. You know, it was always good to watch him. You know, in competition.
Yeah.
Being on the receiving end of in Kumite, it was another one of those that you put. If once you knew as soon as, like, if you're doing lineup, sparring, whatever, you knew you had to be switched on. And that's the thing I always find, like, trying to teach people nowadays. Again, like, you know, especially kids, it's like you've got to be switched on. If you're not, you're going to get caught.
Absolutely.
And that was the thing. That was the thing with you know.
Yeah.
His control, from what I remember anyway, his control was against me. Generally, I would have said always like on point.
Yeah.
I do remember once, like, I think this was at Grantham, was doing a lineup and he came in and he caught me with a Gizamazuki, but it was right in the throat.
Oh no.
Oh God, it was one of those. It was a proper tongue waggler. He just caught me, and I was like, oh God, you know. But it was just, you know, you catch anyone there. The control was good. It just caught, and it just was enough. But you know, and that one, the mind just. I always remember that one because it was just like, I think the first and one only time I'd been punched in the throat. But you know, again, you'd see him. I remember seeing him once fighting, and he was like, no, trap's not the right word, but it was like in the corner of the area. Yeah. And you thought, if he tried to move left, his opponent's going to try and catch him and cut him off. If he went right, the same. Yeah. And I just remember he, like, exploded forward out of nowhere with this Uraken, just caught the guy straight away, and you just thought, I don't know. Again, I was quite young when I saw that, but I just thought, wow, just like to just, you know, he could have stepped out of the area and just had a yame and just like go back and took a warning for going out of the area, but no. So got him in. I just remember thinking, like, wow, he really just timed that. I know there's just bits that some really timed perfectly. Yeah.
And he was back at the dojo, wasn't he, recently?
Yeah, he came to our new, like, open session that we're doing. That's on a Wednesday night. The club trying to give back to the members. It's a free open session for 15 years and above. Sensei Phil, because he's a bit, you know, he's a
busy man, isn't he?
He's a busy man, and you know, it was nice to see him, you know, back in the dojo. And again, we've said it before, he's a bit like Sensei Wayne's encyclopedia for knowing all the katas and everything. And he was there running through a lot of them, and he was taking me through a few as well. And it was just really nice to be training with him again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sensei Phil, hopefully see you soon. So, you've taken time out. Lorenzo, Arthur, they've been born.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting back into it.
Yeah, well, again, I'd always wanted to come back. I think I came back a couple of times just to train, or when I think Sensei Adele came up, did a grading.
Oh, okay.
And again, because again, it would give my first shot there. Again, always got plenty of time for him. So went to that training session, and it's still there. You're thinking, I want to get back into training again, but the kids were still quite young, and I was like, no. Again, I take my responsibilities, obviously, as a parent, very serious, and and I just thought that there'll be a time, and I thought it'd be when Lorenzo's getting a bit older. Yeah. And then when Lorenzo started school, started primary school, it reminded me quite a lot like a bit me. He was a little bit of a shy. He was a bit shy and was lacking a little bit of confidence at the time. And his teacher said, "Look, we could just he could do with like doing something or just getting to get a little bit more confidence." And I just thought, I've got the exact thing for him.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, he started karate sort of around like the same age as I was, so 6 years old, and it was so funny because I mean, Sensei Janet, obviously we've had on the podcast, she would tell you the same. Like, you know, he for the first few weeks, he wouldn't leave like my side until we started the class. But I think even a couple of times, I think I just trained alongside of him just to try and give him the confidence to that he'd be able to do it on his own eventually. or be in the line sort of while I'm down, down the other end.
Yeah.
And then like within several weeks, it's like he's running around like with the rest of the kids. And then that's what I must admit, like since I've like been when it was back getting Lorenzo into karate and being back myself, that's the thing. When you see the kids, you see not every kid's shy that comes in the dojo, but seeing the kids that are shy and then seeing them get confidence, get comfortable. I always think that's a good thing about. Not every club does it, but Newark's always done it. A lot of the time that the kids and adults train together. The adults will say hello to the kids. And like kids might not say anything or anything to start, but eventually they start to talk with the adults. And it gives them the confidence, and it gives them like those social skills, I think, as well, to talk to adults, and just have conversation with people. And I think it did Lorenzo. It did him the world. Did him the world of good. Yeah. And I think again for me myself, it did me the world of good to, the world of good to get back into to karate because I love it dearly. So
absolutely.
And I think I'm a big believer. It's very important for people to try and find that passion. Or a sport or something. Something again. People, the gym. I think it's for your mental well-being as well. Absolutely. It's doing some form of like activity. Like coming back with Lorenzo was great. He's still training now.
He is,
obviously my youngest Arthur, is training as well, and it's great, to think that my father did it, I did it,
and now
the kids will do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they carry it on, or not, I'm not going to force them. I don't believe in that, but I think it's good that they're there and they're doing it.
So you came back, Lorenzo joined. Was that where you were like, okay, I'm on the road to the second dan?
No, not at all.
When did that come about?
No, do you know what? Like I passed my show-dan, and that was for me. That was
it. Was it? Or?
Not it, but I was just that I'd sort of got no. I've got to really. I think like if you want to graze me, you've got to really want it. So it's there. To me, I see it. There's the other dans are just there. There's if you want a goal, to set yourself a goal to keep to keep going. Not keep going, but if you just want to set yourself a goal, it's there. Something to focus on. Okay. That'd be fair, I would say. It just wasn't. I've never been. Wanting like, okay, right, that's it. My time, I'm eligible to grade. I'm going to grade.
Do it right.
No. No, and we were training, and then I think Sensei Wayne comes to me because he wasn't too well at the time.
Okay,
and he asked me, he says, "Look, would you and Sensei Janet, would you guys run? Look at running the club for us?
Right? Okay."
For a bit. Well, this was you're talking a couple of years after Steinbach because it had then been. This was prior to COVID really, and I was just thinking, I didn't really want to teach you. I just like at the time I just wanted to train. Just wanted to train, and the club at the time was struggling a bit. I mean, we'd had to cut the classes down a bit. There wasn't, maybe. You were talking like maybe 15 members at the time.
Right. Okay.
It was struggling a bit.
Yeah.
And I think, essentially Josh Hyde, who's, he'd started training as a young lad, and
gosh,
he'd eventually he'd got onto the England squad, and while I was sort of training when the kids were younger, it was always always on the phone like, oh, could you do some kumite with me, or can you do? We come back training at the time. I was like, well, I'm not really, I'm just focusing on looking after, sort of being a parent and everything at that time. But then we would get together and do a bit of kumite and things. Because I think he had a bit like what I did. At the time, there wasn't really anyone in the club that could push him.
Right.
So then, when he did get onto the squad, I thought it was great because then he was there. He was there with people, and he was going to improve there because there was. You've got the best in the country there. So I would say that since I owe a lot to Sensei Josh, because he was always on at me that come back training, and then when I said like me and Sensei Janet said we'll run the club then when Sensei needed a bit of time off due to his health. Sensei Josh said, I think I'm going to go for my second Dan.
Right, okay.
And that sort of lit the spark. The spark. Then I was like,
yeah,
right. If you're doing it, then when we can hold each other accountable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was another young lad in the club who trained with us, Shaddy.
Yes.
He was going to go. He wanted to go for his first Dan.
Yeah.
So there's a few of us like I just held each other to account. Met up, in the dojo, met up outside the dojo, trained. We'd like film the katas, film the kion. Like, right, what do you think? Like, analyze it, looking at it. Are we happy with it?
Yep.
And what did we pass? We went to a course at Orpington, SKC, and it was a national course in Dan grading.
Yep.
Again, this was right before COVID, and I think it was the last Dan grading before like everything started getting shut down for COVID, and we were very fortunate that myself, Josh, and Shadi passed. Me and Josh passed our Nidans.
Yeah.
Shadi passed his Shodan.
And I'm right in saying that's with Sensei Uta.
That was with Sensei Gary, Sensei Del, and Sensei Giuseppe. That was.
Okay.
And literally like I think maybe the following week or a couple of weeks later, that was it. Everything got shut down. Right. So obviously the club had it was like ticking over all right, and I started looking at another little dojo, which has become like one of our permanent dojos. Yep. And we had one class, I think, in the new dojo, and then everything was shut down. And then it was obviously to the online training, which was again a first, and I don't think anybody obviously wants to go back to doing that.
No, not at all. No, from what I've heard. Anyway.
But we kept, and I think back then I remember. I mean, I think I had like 2 weeks off work because again with my work, no one knew if you could go on. Could go on someone else on site. Yeah, it was always so. We said, right, we shut the doors at work.
Yeah,
I said to my wife, "We've got to do stuff to keep people like mentally positive, switched on here."
Absolutely.
Saw a few of the other clubs obviously using Zoom and things like that. Had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Didn't exactly have a very good computer at home at the time. It was like, well, we'll give this a go. We'll give it a go. Yeah. And again, the younger kids, bless them, it wasn't really for them. I think they found it very difficult to try and what was going off. But week in, week out, adults were logging on. We tried to keep the training schedule as it was before.
Yep.
We were pulling other instructors within the association. Look, will you teach for us today? And then like cross training with obviously with other clubs, and just trying to keep everybody.
The spirit up.
The spirit up, keeping motivated, keeping positive, trying to keeping fit.
Yeah.
And once obviously all the restrictions got relaxed, we was in the park and training and everything. Even now, people say to me, can we, in the summer, can we train at the park?
Can we go outside,
I look back on certainly the training in the park really fondly, and then it couldn't come soon enough when we could get back in the dojo. Absolutely, and sort of like once we got out of all the the COVID nonsense, really, it was the club went from 15 odd regular members, and I know we're a few years on from COVID now, but I mean, we've shot up to like 80 odd or whatever it was, and some of that I think was because people wanted to try new things. Parents wanted to get their kids out doing something, being just getting physically fit.
Absolutely.
We've just not looked back really. I think now what we train, I think Friday's the only day we don't do anything now. It's fantastic. We've got Sensei Janet, women's only class now on a Monday, and then soon to be Monday morning, and then soon to have a Monday evening as well. Training Tuesday evenings. Wednesday, we've got the open class that's free to the members. Thursday,
Yeah.
Nothing on a Friday.
No,
We've
doesn't
got Saturday
count.
training and Sunday training. I mean, and it was amazing to think where we'd come from, where the club had to scale right back because we hadn't got the members at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people that have come back to karate as well that have not trained for years, and that's the thing. I think people are apprehensive, but once you've got out the door, when you've got in the dojo that first time, and you just think, it does start to come back to you.
It's like the memories, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's that again, that community. I think, and I think especially like people when you start getting up to like your brown belt and first Q, the other high grades hold you a bit more accountable, and they're there supporting you, trying to get get you to your showdown.
Yeah, definitely.
And even if you do never grade again over there, I mean, the achievement of getting to there is unbelievable.
So was that when you fell into the title of assistant chief instructor during that time? Do you think?
We banned the names, but look, I just look at it as that Sensei, it's Sensei Wayne's club. It'll always be his club until he says otherwise. And I just feel like I just did a job that needed to be done. He was having a few health issues at the time.
Right. Okay.
He needed someone to step in. Me and Sensei Janet stepped in.
Yeah.
Janet's always preferred teaching the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, I'm happy to teach kids. Will you teach that with teaching? It was, and that's the beauty of it. More black belts started coming back, joining. And the sense of community. I consider myself just the driving force, a driving force, because there's many driving forces. You assist with the club, you know what it's like, even like doing this, doing the social media, teaching. Yeah, there's just it was getting to the club was growing that much as well that I personally seeing Sensei Wayne teach, running Newark from the age of 16, 17 or whatever it is, and my father teaching running or starting Southwall, then start passing that on to your dad. Yep. Starting Grantham and doing that, seeing the level of commitment it takes for one person. I just don't personally, unless you're doing it full time and it's your job and everything like that. Yeah. But if you've got a job and a family, there has to be something that gives. Having it all on one person's shoulders, the club for me. I just think it's not too healthy to that individual. No, it's not. No, that's just my view. No, obviously, someone else may disagree or argue that, but
No, I think that's a fair point. I agree with that. I think Sensei Wing, in fairness, and your dad, Sensei Steve, they did an incredible job all on their own, keeping the club going. But it's just incredible. Yeah.
But you won't, I think a lot of the time, there's all that thing of I never wanted to be in that bracket of you'd been divorced or something. Yeah. Because because of your hobby was just taking up too much of your life. And I just think that's, because the amount of karate instructors that you'll meet that have been married once, twice, three times, because it's that's got in the way or something in it. That I was always like, no, that's not.
Got to have that balance.
There's got to be a balance. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And look, and again, it was so good to see Sensei Wayne come back into the fold. From what he's feeling better and he's. And start teaching again. And once we got out, he started teaching online. What was it like? Sort of towards the back end of COVID, and it's great, and it's great seeing, his knowledge and everything. I mean, it's just fantastic to have. I mean, all the people we've got teaching and everything at the club. The club's really. Couldn't be any more prouder of the club. Really, it's really been going in the right direction. And then obviously today we've had the nationals.
Wow, and goodness! I mean,
just before we came to the studio, we've had a few, a few medals today, and the people that've put themselves out there to get on the mat, and they've been rewarded for it, for their hard work, and
absolutely,
even the ones that if you've not none of the ones that haven't come away with a medal, it doesn't matter. They've gone down there and given it. They've
100%,
slowly but surely gaining that experience. Yeah, the medals will come.
Absolutely, yeah. No, well done to everybody who competed today for Newark SKC. As Sensei Chris just said, you've done brilliantly. Well done.
Haven't got the full list of results, otherwise
No,
I
we
would.
haven't. We could
I'd
reel off.
give them. Give everybody a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah, we could wing it, but it's probably not a good idea. Someone might get upset. Brilliant. So, it is that time for some quick fire questions. I know, now you're going to feel what everybody else, sat where you are, has felt.
I'll try and be as.
It's a good job they're not timed.
I think it is.
Maybe we should. Let me just get my list. Okay. Right. Here we go. Favorite karate technique?
Oh,
it's a tough one, isn't it?
favorite karate technique.
Oh.
There's got to be Mawashigiri.
Okay, Mawashigiri.
Chudan or Jodan.
Chudan or Jodan. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, your favorite kata to perform?
Oh God.
Oh gosh, that's the. Gosh.
Long as no one was watching.
Closed doors at home.
I really like. I must admit, I really like to practice Sochin. To be honest,
Right.
yeah,
That's a black belt kata for those who don't know.
yeah.
But you should know because Sensei Wayne's done it on a Tuesday night. So, who was the best competitor you've ever faced?
That I've ever faced.
Like you have ever faced. You've been on the mat. You've gone 1-on-1. Who is it?
Nick Richards.
And okay, I knew you'd say that. I had a feeling. So Sensei Nick, if you're listening, there you go. Be good to have you back as well. You did a brilliant class. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Couple of years ago. Okay, so best male competitor. Now, this doesn't have to be somebody you faced. This is who's the best male competitor. Past, present, doesn't matter. That's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah, tough one.
If you were
Oh,
so,
go on,
so,
I'll
difficult,
have
so difficult.
It is, isn't it? You can have one.
It was, you know what? It was always good to watch my dad and
Yep.
Sensei Phil.
Okay.
If I was watching like ones on the internet,
Yeah.
it would either be Richard Heselton or
Yeah.
there's an instructor called Cockburn.
Right. Okay.
I don't think he's with the JK now. I'm not sure what
Right.
the association is, but you look at it like some of his of his highlight reels are phenomenal.
Right. Okay.
Proper rum lad.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
All right. Brilliant. Okay. And what's your favourite kata for bunkai?
For bunkai.
Oh, this is controversial. Yeah.
One that I could say I can probably get through, like no problem, would be Gion.
Gion? Okay. I thought I'd throw that in there. I know how much
Cheers
you
for
love
that,
know how much you love bunkai.
Yeah, I love it.
So, best female competitor.
Oh, best female.
I know, they just get harder. Yeah.
Roisin Campbell.
Roisin Campbell. Okay.
Yeah, she was on the squad same time as me.
Right. Okay.
Lives in Japan or moved to Japan.
Right.
Yeah. She was. Yeah. She again. You don't see the one thing. The only reason I won't dwell on it long, but you don't see many women. Certainly in the JK, I would say that you don't see many sweep, and she used to try and sweep, and I always liked that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And she got really stuck in, and I think 1 year she came third in the All Japan Championships as well.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So which 5 people would you pick for a 5-man Kumite team? Oh.
Wow. Okay. This is you gotta have you'll have my dad in there.
Yep.
Always up for it.
Yep.
Sensei Phil.
Yep.
Sensei Sean Cassidy.
Yep.
There's 3 down.
Yeah, it's 3 down, 2 to go.
Sensei Nick Richards.
Yep.
And Richard Heselton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Next question. Which 3 people would you have for Team Kata?
Team Kata?
Yeah.
Ooh. Sensei Wayne.
Yep.
Sensei Phil.
Okay.
Sensei Sean.
Wow. Okay. What's your greatest karate achievement?
Definitely, you've got to be like obviously representing JK England.
Yeah.
You know, was more than the dream come true. But
Okay.
passing my if not that, passing my showdown while my father was there, was able to come and watch as well, which was fantastic.
Okay. Which instructor has had that lasting effect on you? Again, it can be more than one. I wish sort of touched on this a little bit.
Lasting effect it's got to be my father, like obviously my father, Sensei Phil, and Sensei Wayne as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you'll be pleased to know. Final question. Favorite karate moment?
Favorite karate moment?
Yeah.
Seeing my kids grade for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, seeing my kids grade for the first time was good. And seeing them try hard and stick with it and put themselves out there. But getting your good self over the finish line and getting your showdown.
Oh, thank you very much.
Kicking and screaming.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we won't go into that.
Well, and again, I saw again, like I said earlier, that the other downgrades and stuff. Obviously, hold everybody account if they're going for their black belt, and again, and knowing what it meant to you. A bit like myself, had been like a first cue for a long time. And coming from non-training like myself, I hadn't been training for quite some time, and getting back into it and making that commitment, not easy.
It's certainly not. No.
Big well done to you.
Thank you. And what does the future hold then?
Oh, hopefully, sort of many years of injury-free training would be nice. I was unfortunate. I did go for my third dan recently, and I was unsuccessful. And I would say managing my either anxiety, stress levels accordingly, which I was very surprised that I let that sort of thing get the best of me. But I did. You have to learn from it. I learned a lot from, just going for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future, maybe passing my third dan.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep driving Newark forward like we are, and just keep inspiring the younger generation to take up karate, or just keep on that journey and help them out as much as we can.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've got we've got the world championships in Tokyo this year.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. We've got 3 students from Newark that have been selected. We've got Sensei Sean and Sensei Josh Hyde, Sensei Sean Cassidy, Sensei Josh Hyde in the senior men's, and we've got Lorenzo Costantine.
Yeah,
there's a showdown who's been selected as well, who's a junior. A fantastic opportunity for him.
Absolutely.
And just wishing them all the best.
Yeah.
And hoping to help them out as much as we can. Also, we've got a fund. We've got a fundraising event for fundraising event for the senior men.
Yes,
that have been selected to go to the world. So we've got 2 of our own. We've got obviously Sensei Sean, Sensei Josh, like I said.
Yeah.
We've got Sensei Aaron Story, Sensei Akbar, and Sensei Harrison Langridge as well.
Yeah.
So we've got that course coming up at the end of August, which is open to all associations, and all. The club is covering the cost of the hall. Any money we make from the course itself all goes to the guys to be split, because again, I know myself how trying to get to these these tournaments. Obviously, the association help them out to an extent. They have to find the rest of the money themselves. Again, I was fortunate when I went to Lords.
Yeah.
I managed to get like full sponsorship for it. I was very lucky.
Yeah.
And I know the guys are working hard trying to get sponsorship and things like that. We've got a GoFundMe as well.
Yeah.
And we've got this course coming up. So again, hopefully we get a good turnout for that. And we can help them out with a few quid to go towards the expenses of trying to get to Tokyo.
Absolutely. And that course is going to be really good. Got some, Sensei Chris just said, some brilliant instructors who are coming on.
And those,
Yeah.
Sensei Aaron was last year's national, national champion. We've got Sensei Akbar, who's this year's
What a
won it
final.
today, is national Kumite champion. And then you've got the rest of the guys as well who European like men's Kumite champion, which was the first time. First time in 20 years that that England had won it. And again, having two guys from Newark that are on the team is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So again, I know all the guys,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to try and put this course on to help them out. It's going to be fantastic training.
It is, absolutely. And as you quite rightly said, Sensei Akbar is this year's national champion. What a final. I wish I was there to see the final against Sensei Aaron. They're both from the same club.
Yeah.
Sensei Aaron is his chief instructor. Guaranteed it's going to be trouble. Yeah, absolutely. No, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a brilliant course. It's on August 25th at Newark Leisure Centre as well.
£20
Yeah.
For the training. Like I say, every penny of it goes to helping the guys get there. It's the best thing we could do is just trying to help them out in any way we can.
Absolutely. And also, it's my birthday. What a way to celebrate.
Oh, there we go. What a way to celebrate.
Here we go. That's it. Wow. Excellent. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for being interviewed, because normally it's you doing the interview. So, no, it's been really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for stepping in to the hot seat, mate.
Not a problem. Excellent.